One thing that I struggle with quite a bit as an artist is whether or not to include different aspects of myself into the art practice. Sometimes it's tempting to just isolate down one specific thing, especially if you're trying to work on a specific project. But that also means that you leave out different energies that you could be putting into the practice. And that question is something that I've been struggling with for like the past 10 years, where I'm like, okay, I'm like a silly person. I like being funny. I'm quite just like playful in real life with my friends. But some of that playfulness doesn't really show up in the art because I'm trying to make art that is a little bit more on the spiritual side. But then I'm like, okay, maybe I include some like cute characters here and there to like capture some of that silliness. And the question that I'm grappling with now is that are there other aspects of myself that I'm not including in the practice that I'm just not aware of? So one of my mentors, he talks about this quite a bit, where artists tend to leave out aspects of themselves in their practice. And that means that they'll not be fully themselves in the practice. And sometimes that's a lost opportunity. So my question for myself now is, are there aspects of myself that I'm leaving out? Are there aspects of who I am as a person that I should be including in the practice that would energize it more? One question that I'm grappling with here is, what is it that I enjoy in my life that I haven't included, which could be dancing? That's one of the things that I'm thinking about. I use freestyle dancing as an aspect of like a place to compare the energies. So like the playfulness that I have in freestyle dancing, I'm trying to capture some of the energy within my art practice, but I never draw people dancing. And there's a part of me that thinks that like, yeah, because that's not really what I want to draw. But is that a missed opportunity? And like those types of questions are kind of what I've been grappling with over the past couple of days, and something I've been grappling with for the past 10 years, realistically speaking. Because the more you work on personal projects, which I recommend all my students do, just like build your own mini project. That's why the inner artist course is all about that, because I do think that's tremendously valuable. But when you build a project, sometimes you tend to isolate down the different things that you're including because you just can't include everything. Although at least that is how I think about it. Maybe you could include everything, but then you have to find that balance of like, okay, I have all these different interests. How do I capture all those interests in one thing? And I think there probably is an opportunity to like mesh everything together in a beautiful way, especially if you are someone who's very creative and you have that ability. I do think that's a very useful skill. A lot of times when you see artists who are doing tremendously well in terms of like connecting with people and feeling understood in their work, a lot of times I do think it's because they've blended together different interests in a way that is beautiful. But the question is like, is that possible for everyone? Are there certain interests that just don't mesh well together, or are there certain ideas that you just aren't aware of? I think that's what I'm scared of the most. I'm scared that there are aspects of myself that I've just been ignoring and just like not realizing that I could include that in my practice. And that is what is like torturing me a little bit. And the problem is, I think the harder I look for it, the more elusive it becomes. That's I think that's what I'm scared. I was scared that I just won't see it. Because if I see something and then choose not to include it, at least I'm aware of it, which means that I could always try again in the future. Like the dance thing, I could always do dancing characters in the future if I decide that is something I want to include. But are there things that I'm just not including right now? Like, what is it? You know, I draw plants, I draw humans, psychology stuff. I like to include that kind of stuff. But is there other things that I'm just not thinking about? And that's kind of the thing that I'm grappling with right now. I wonder if there's a way for me to ask my friends about this. That might be one place where I could start, where I could be asked like, okay, what, like when you think about me, like what comes to mind? Although I feel a little bit self-indulgent, but I think my friends would be down for that. My fear there is that they'll give me a bunch of compliments that will make me deeply uncomfortable. They'll give me like tons and tons of compliments, and I'll be like, okay, that's too much. Okay, I need to like back away from this because this is like too much emotionally. But that might be a path where I can find something. So that's what's on my mind. What do you think about this? In your own artistic practice, are there things that you have a hard time including? Like, are there things that are hard to mesh together? I think I'm going to write a list of things that I'm interested in and do that exercise again, because this is something I've done in the inner artist course where I make my students write out their interests, because I do think that's very important to just have it on paper. So I might do it again, because I do think that I might discover new things now that I've grown a little bit, I've changed a little bit. I see myself a little bit differently now. Like I feel differently in my own body. So maybe there are different aspects of myself that I can include in the practice that would be beautiful. So that's what I'm excited about. That's what I'm thinking about. See you guys in the next video. Bye.